What's up, guys? Josh Pate here from 24/7 Sports, joined as we are every week by Steve Wiltfong, National Director of Recruiting. As much scoop as we can in as little time as we can. Steve, let's dive right in. Will Shipley, 5-star running back. What is the very latest there?
The number one ranked all-purpose back in the 24/7 Sports composite. I'm hearing he is closing in on a college decision, like it could come very soon. No more visits. He's ready to decide. And in my opinion, Clemson remains the program to beat. Notre Dame, North Carolina, Stanford, Duke, NC State are among the others Shipley has given strong consideration to. But what I've been hearing for months and what I really feel good about now is that the Tigers are tough to beat. Shipley had spring plans to get to South Bend and Palo Alto, among other places, but obviously ramifications from this coronavirus, which put us in an NCAA dead period, canceled those. I think those schools needed those visits to change the pulse of this recruitment. That's because Clemson did get him on campus in January, and I feel the ACC power really moved the needle during that visit. Shipley told me he got a chance to see the components of not only the football program, but the whole place. It was his first time seeing the campus. He got a chance to hang out with some of the other Clemson commits and many of the big-time recruits on campus, which he said was cool. The highlight was listening to Coach Dabo Swinney talk about his visions for this upcoming decade of Clemson football. Swinney's vision for it to be the best decade of football any college football program has ever had, and I think Shipley wants to help make that happen. Yes, he has good relationships with other schools, Notre Dame being the other program that generates the most buzz. But proximity and everything else mentioned with the Notre Dame or North Carolina native, I think puts Clemson in pole position unless Notre Dame or another one of these schools could flip it with a Zoom visit that they had here at the end. And Josh, let's talk a little bit about Clemson too. They currently have the number 3 recruiting class in the country. But when looking at pound for pound average ranking per commit, it's actually number 1 at 95.55, which is a hair higher than this ballyhooed Ohio State class is at, running away at number 1. A pledge from Shipley would boost Clemson's average even more, and they'd pass North Carolina for the number 2 class nationally.
How about Penn State, Steve? This is a place where you sort of get the whispers and feel the rumblings that things could be about to move there in a positive direction.
Yeah, man, they've been a mover the last 2 weeks. They've landed 5 commits in that span, and Penn State is up to number 15 nationally in the 24/7 Sports composite team rankings. The Nittany Lions are also picking up buzz for several more targets. I recently logged crystal ball forecasts in favor of the Big Ten program for 4-star quarterback Christian Ballou out of Canada and 4-star athlete receiver target Lonnie White from in-state. Ballou recently named the top 4 that also included Duke, Clemson, and Tennessee, but a source close to the coveted signal caller likes the Nittany Lions position. Ballou has been to Penn State as much as any other school. He's always liked Penn State. He's always had a connection there with the players. He's got friends there, the relationships. He's really connected with new offensive coordinator Kirk Soraka, and he thinks that offense and everything's a huge plus. He loves the campus, says they're a big-time team. They play big-time competition, and they have a lot of potential as well. And last thing, he loves that business school at Penn State. White is a 4-star athlete, recently minted 4-star by 24/7 Sports at Malvern Prep, where he plays quarterback. He's currently committed to play baseball at Clemson, and he also shines at basketball, a high flyer that plays above the rim. I mean, he's a high-achieving alpha-type athlete that will produce somewhere for someone on the next level. Based on what I'm hearing, I think that'll be Penn State. Offensive line is a huge priority for James Franklin and company moving forward. They already have one of the nation's best committed in Landon Tengwall. Several more blue chippers have a keen eye on Penn State, beginning with Nolan Rucci, who dropped his top 9 on Monday morning. I think the Nittany Lions are closer to the top of that list for the legacy recruit. Others, new offensive line coach Phil Trotwine is coming hard after, include Tristan Lay, Garrett Dillinger, Drew Kendall, Rayshawn Benny, Logan Taylor, Caleb Johnson, Rocco Spindler, Drew Kendall, and Dylan Fairchild. I think I said Drew Kendall twice. That's how bad they want him. Penn State's going to land one of the country's top tight ends. They'd obviously love for it to be Brock Bowers as they battle Georgia and Notre Dame, among others, but Tyler Bowen also has them in the mix for several others. Who will be at running back? They have arguably the best running back room in college football going into the fall. Who will they add to it next year? Things are picking up with 5-star running back Donovan Edwards, but Jawan Sider also has them in a great spot for Corey Kiner and Malik Newton too. Receivers Dante Thornton and Jaleel Farouk, safety Derek Davis are just a few others I think Penn State's in strong shape for.
Somehow he just gave that to me for free, by the way. Let's move on. Jantzen Dunn. All you told me before we filmed, Steve, was, man, what a wild one with Jantzen Dunn. Do you care to explain?
Man, it was just a kind of a wild weekend in general for defensive back recruiting. First, top 247 cornerback Avante Dickerson hits me up on Friday, a day after telling me he's excited about Nebraska, Minnesota, LSU, Oregon, and Boston College, and tells me he's committing. I didn't see it coming. And I thought, all right, you're committing. You're going to Nebraska. You're staying in state. He says, no, I'm popping for the Gophers later this day. Come to find out, after we talked on Thursday, he had another 90-minute conversation with PJ Fleck, and that sealed the deal. No program's working harder than Minnesota right now during the quarantine. And with Dickerson in the fold, they now sit on the nation's number 9 recruiting class in the country. Gophers in the top 10 right now. And Dickerson is the highest-ranked recruit Fleck has landed at Minnesota, surpassing Rashad Bateman. So now Jantzen Dunn. Where do I begin there? I got a text Saturday night from our number 1 ranked recruit in Kentucky, his camp, alerting me that Oklahoma was on the verge of landing Janssen's commitment. So I'm thinking the Sooners are going to land another key piece on defense here, which could maybe lead to them landing one of the more athletic defensive back classes in the country. They have Jordan Mukes committed. Dunn, I think, is on deck for them. And then Kendall Daniels and Latrell McCutcheon are 2 others that I think Oklahoma is in a good spot for. And DB is a huge priority for them this cycle. But a couple hours later, I then get a call from the Dunn camp telling me a last-minute conversation with Ohio State completely changed things, and that Jantzen would be a Buckeye and announced on Monday. Wow. Now, I've never seen anything like it. I never doubted Ohio State was his leader following his spring visit, but the Dunn camp wasn't sure how hard Ohio State was pushing. Oklahoma was all in, led by Roy Manning. And the championship level stage is where Dunn wants to play. So Ohio State, Oklahoma, they have that in common. I think proximity to home. He's never been to Oklahoma. He's been to Ohio State. Ohio State's track record of producing DBs, competing for championships was what Dunn was looking for. Now he's another member of a class that is running away atop the 24/7 sports standings. My colleague Charles Power likens Dunn's game to that of Ryan Watts, another DB the Buckeyes flipped from Oklahoma in the 2020 cycle. Dunn happens to play on the same 7-on-7 team, True Buzz, that Watts shined on a year ago.
Steve Wiltfong. Quite literally the machine. Thank you, sir. Make sure to tune in for all the latest and stay tuned to 247sports.com for all the latest as well.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Josh.